And when you hear that sound, you know what time it is. Yes, not literally because it's 3 o'clock, but it's that time. It's Sunday, July 20. Welcome to the CCRP update. The CCRP was created as a legacy project by Procom to empower, celebrate, and protect Jamaica seniors. They offer many benefits. Visit our website at ccrponline.org. CCRP Update is brought to you by JNGI Silver Shield, the best choice for auto and property insurance exclusively for CCRP members. Contact Gallagher Insurance Brokers or JNGI for best value and a boatload of benefits. In today's update, our guest speaker will be Mrs. Phumeza Mukendi, Acting High Commissioner at the South African High Commission in Jamaica. And she'll make a presentation on the life and legacy of the late Honorable Nelson Mandela, iconic freedom fighter and the first president of the Republic of South Africa. Last Thursday, July 18, marked the 107th anniversary of Mr. Mandela's birth, and it's now being observed globally as Mandela Day. But first, a little family business. Our CCRP update sponsors BCIC offer their amazing JNGI Silver Shield plan for auto and property insurance exclusively for CCRP members. The auto plan includes free benefits from the Jamaica Automobile Association with valet service for vehicle registration, fitness, and 24-hour roadside assistance. Today at 5 p.m., there'll be a special benefit performance of the National Dance Theatre Company to raise funds for CCRP's outreach work for needy elderly Jamaicans. If you have not yet purchased a ticket for this event, you may do so at the Little Theatre this afternoon. The tickets are $4,000 each. Do go along, enjoy the NDTC's performance, and you'll have an entertaining afternoon while supporting a great cause. That's today at 5 p.m. at the Little Theatre. Help us to fight for your rights. When you're a CCRP member, you are actively supporting the rights of seniors and the elderly. We've been passionate advocates for your rights for 40 years old and over. That's the age group. Well, you're eligible to join the CCRP to benefit in any which way and to contribute. When you join CCRP, you open up a whole world of exciting events and money savings discounts. For only an initial registration fee of $2,500 and annual renewal of $2,000, you will have access to discounts of up to 30% from our over 100 plus discount partners. And CCRP also offers 2 high-value health insurance plans for local and international coverage. That's 40 years and over for membership, that's all. And now to the meat of today's update. He is an iconic figure in global history, period. Last Friday, July 18, on the 107th anniversary of his birth, the free world joined in celebrating the august legacy of the late Pan-African and global freedom fighter and the first president of the Republic of South Africa. And most Jamaicans too, we've embraced him as our own by proxy and by his character, the Honorable Nelson Mandela. CCRP is delighted to welcome this afternoon's guest speaker, the Acting High Commissioner of South African High Commission in Jamaica, Mrs. Phumeza Mukendi. We're all very much all ears for your presentation, Acting Commissioner. We really are happy to have you. We're excited. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, wow. Wow, thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. Kerry McDaniel, to your listeners and to everybody else around the world who's listening to this very small contribution from the South African High Commission to talk about this icon, Nelson Mandela. It is really an honor for me to speak on the legacy of Madiba. As you know that he has done so much for humanity, and that it probably can take the whole day if we were to cover all the aspects of what he has done to change the world. Because we are talking here of a man who has done so many things for humanity, a man who has suffered immensely for his beliefs under the apartheid system, a man who was just a human being like you and me, With a deep sense of humor, he had humility, he experienced pain and joy, etc. A man who loved his family, his people, and humanity in general. But unfortunately, he was robbed of the opportunity to enjoy these bonds. He was the epitome of fairness, equity, and justice, and became the living embodiment of struggle against apartheid and a symbol of defiance against a brutal regime. Now, Nelson Mandela's name resonates with the very essence of freedom, reconciliation, and unwavering hope. His journey carried the aspirations of a nation and ignited the conscience of the world. Born in a world of divisions, in a South Africa shackled in chains of apartheid, which was a systematic oppression that defined South Africa at the time. These shackles did not just start with the introduction of formalizing apartheid in 1948, if you remember, but this oppression dates back for centuries in South Africa, and especially as well as other parts of the continent. I am sure you can read about the arrival of the earlier ships into the country and what the occupants of these ships did when they arrived in our country. But for this presentation, I will try to focus on the legacy that Madiba left for us in South Africa and the world. A lawyer by profession, he chose to dedicate his life to a cause far greater than himself, the liberation of his people. His commitment for equality came at a great personal cost to him, as he was incarcerated for 27 long, odious years in Robben Island and other prisons under very harsh conditions. As the voice in the world became louder about his plight, the apartheid regime had no choice but to release him. It was on the 11th of February 1990 when the world watched as he walked out of Victor Verster prison, a free man. His journey was far from over. What followed was perhaps his greatest act of leadership. Instead of seeking retribution for the years stolen from him, for the immense suffering inflicted upon his people and himself, he chose the path of reconciliation. He understood that to build a new South Africa, the wounds of the past had to be healed, but not deepened. He urged both Black and white South Africans to work together to forge a new democratic order. His pursuit for reconciliation, though viewed by others as a sign of weakness, indeed it was not. It was a profound strength, recognizing that true freedom takes place when shackles of chains are removed from others, especially from the minds of the captors. His famous words, and we all know this, but I'm going to quote it nonetheless, because this became the blueprint of South Africa's foreign policy and the way of life. Open quote. During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to the struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination and I have fought against Black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. As I have said, this became the blueprint for the new South Africa. Nelson Mandela's legacy extends far beyond the borders of his beloved country. He became a global icon for peace and moral compass for a world grappling with divisions and conflicts. was very much aware of the multipolar world that we all exist in and how intricate that world can be and how it affects the developing countries. In 1991, during his visit to the United States, when he was interviewed by Mr. Ted Koppel of ABC News, he was asked why he kept the likes of Muammar Gaddafi, Fidel Castro, Yasser Arafat as close allies, whereas according to him, the interviewer, these men were regarded as the worst human rights violators. Madiba, in his quiet confidence, responded and told the audience that some political analysts make the mistake of thinking that their enemies should be the enemies of everyone. Further explaining that while he was grateful to the world for their support, the individuals mentioned supported the struggle against apartheid to the hilt. In 2009, the United Nations declared July 18th as Nelson Mandela International Day. We have touched on this, a day dedicated to public service, a call to action for individuals to make a difference in their communities. It is a living tribute to his belief that it is in your hands to make a better world, close quotes. And this year's theme is, it's still in your hands to combat poverty and inequality. Madiba, as he was affectionately known, this is his clan name, taught us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. He demonstrated that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail. His life is a powerful reminder that one person's unwavering commitment to justice, equality, and compassion can indeed change the world. Now, please, if you may just allow me to share a small story of my own encounter with Madiba. As a young woman in the early 80s, I worked as a volunteer at the ANC headquarters. It so happened that I was asked to urgently take a letter to him to the Union buildings in Pretoria. At this point in 1994, Madiba was SA's first democratically elected president. But before I could dash to Pretoria, I needed to fetch my small child from school. And of course, after that, I drove with him, my child that is, to Pretoria. When we got to the Union buildings, as we were waiting for the letter to be signed, I guess Madiba's private secretary then, the late Miss Mary Mqadana, had informed him that I was with a small child. Surprisingly, we were called into his office where he welcomed us and really made us feel very special and comfortable in this very important office of a president. It turned out that actually he, Madiba, wanted to have a conversation with my son. This was incredible, I thought to myself. How such an important and busy man can have time for a 5-year-old boy. I am sure there are many such stories about Madiba. Anybody who knew him would tell you that Madiba loved children dearly. In his book, Long Walk to Freedom, he wrote, "There was nothing I found, open quotes, there was nothing I found so agonizing in prison as the thought that Winnie, his wife at the time, was in prison too. I put a brave face on the situation, but inwardly, I was deeply disturbed and worried. Nothing tested my inner equilibrium as such as the time that Winnie was in solitary confinement. Although I often urged others not to worry about what they could not control, I was unable to take my own advice." As we reflect on his monumental legacy. Let us not simply revere the man, but we ought to internalize his message by using our voices to challenge prejudice, inequality, and injustice wherever and whenever we see it. Let us, in our own small ways, continue his long walk. For the legacy of Nelson Mandela is not a static monument in the past, but a living call that challenges us to work towards fairness and peace for all, so we can become the change we wish to see in the world. Can I stop there for now?
Yes. My goodness, Acting High Commissioner, thank you so much. You've given us lots of food for thought, and framing it as you have from a much closer proximity, we really are very touched and moved by the clarity and the humanity with which you related your own experience, personal and national.
Yeah.
Yes, it was is really very moving. So we thank you so much. We really are
But
blessed by that intervention. Yes, yes,
but
yes.
if you still have some moments, I can also share how Madiba's legacy continue to shape our foreign policy in South Africa. I don't know how much time you have.
We're up against the time, but if you can share a couple of things, we will listen. We'll be happily listen.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As I've mentioned that his beliefs in, justice, peace, eradication of poverty, the protection of and nurturing of children, Madiba encouraged the youth to embrace education and sports. He was a great catalyst that unified people across color lines, race, region, and so on, not only in South Africa. Hence, our foreign policy pillars on peace and human rights.
Mm.
South Africa's foreign policy stance since the advent of democracy had positioned South Africa as a reliable, influential partner on the continent and in the world. This comes directly from how he taught us, the values, for example, the values of Ubuntu. Everybody is important. No one is above you and no one is below you. We are, you are because I am because of you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This has enabled South Africa to have friendly and valuable relations with countries around the world at political, diplomatic, trade, investment, sporting, social, and many other levels. You see, it was these principles that guided South Africa's participation in a multiple multilateral fora like the G77, IORA, ISA, and so on. And this year, South Africa will be chairing the G20 and will, in fact, is chairing G20 and will host its summit in November this year. This is a moment of great significance for South Africa and the African continent, not only because for the first time in its history, G20 is being hosted on the African continent following the admission of the African Union as a member of G20, but because this will also assist the continent, foster cooperation to deal with the challenges that the world faces as cooperation. Cooperation is viewed as a bedrock of human civilization.
Mm.
So this goes on because now we found ourselves here in Jamaica. We are the only, South Africa has got a footprint in Kingston and is covering a lot of, Caribbean countries. And Madiba visited this country twice. In 1991, immediately after his release from prison, and this is where I think the foundation for the establishment of South African High Commission in Jamaica took hold. It was established. And in 1994, on the 9th of September, we opened our High Commission.
Mm.
And then his second visit was in 1998, when he came to speak at the 9th CARICOM Heads of Mission. sorry, heads of meeting, heads of government.
Oh, right. Yes.
You see,
Yes. Yes.
South Africa will never forget the contributions made by Solidarity Front against apartheid, including the pivotal role played by Jamaica. In this regard, Jamaica was very vocal, especially across the Caribbean. Now, this is the reason South Africa is vocal on the issue of Palestine, Western Sahara, and everywhere where there is injustice, conflict. We try and bring about peace, because there can never be development without peace. And our foreign policy is pillared on justice and peace, because we also got the entire world vocal on our issues to attain freedom.
Yes. We have to thank you at this moment, Acting High Commissioner. You've really enriched our thoughts, and we're very, very, very grateful. Thank you so very much. Yes, thank you. Acting
Thank you.
Blessings.
Yes.
Blessings. Acting High Commissioner, South African High Commission in Jamaica, Mrs. Phumeza Mukendi. Generous offering to the community, and it's been a blessing. Until next Sunday at 3 for all things CCRP, visit our website at ccrponline.org and our YouTube channel at CCRP. If you are 40 years or over, join us now. Why wait? It opens up insights, networks, exciting events, money savings, discounts, and more. Build the connections, share the experiences, and keep informed to make the best life choices before retirement hits. CCRP Update, brought to you by J&GI Silver Shield, the best choice for auto and property insurance exclusively for CCRP members. Contact Gallagher Insurance Brokers or J&GI for best value and a boatload of benefits.